such grace. You'd think she was raised in a palace, not a chaotic Lagos market. And that was it. I came back the next day, and the next, pretending to forget things, onions, pepper, even toothbrush, anything to her again. But Flora wasn't easy. She turned me down 5 times, politely, calmly, almost like she'd seen it all before. "You're not ready," she once said. "Your heart is still noisy." What did that even mean? I didn't care. I persisted. I brought her snacks, helped her sell, even shielded her from market touts. And slowly, something shifted. One day eyes hollow. "Why did you come for me?" she asked. I woke up screaming. I tried to ignore it. I thought, she's back again. That same day, I returned to the market. Flora's plantain table was there. Full, fresh, untouched. But Flora wasn't. I asked around. No one had seen her. Some traders even swore they never saw anyone at that stall. One man said, "Bros, nobody they sell for there since that girl died last year." I froze. "What girl?" He looked at me strangely. "One girl like that, quiet, always selling alone. Dem say she full inside canal on night during rain. Her body no even complete when dem find am." My stomach dropped. "No," I whispered. "That's not possible." I showed him a drawing I had done of Flora. An art pad always had her face. Scarf showed up in my laundry basket the next morning. I live alone. I tried to pray. I tried to fast. I even booked a hotel for a few days, hope distance would help. But the second night in that hotel, the receptionist called me and said, "Sir, your wife says she now." "Have a wife," I replied. There was silence on the line. "She's already by the door." I froze. I didn't open it. I sat on the floor and prayed till morning. When I got home, my neighbor, Mama Titi, was waiting outside. She handed me a red Bible, thick with dust and tied with a black thread. "She won't leave you," she said, "because you touched her heart when it was already buried." I begged her to explain. She sighed and led me into her home. Small drowns in storm body recovered days later. Another. Locals blame river spirits for mysterious deaths in Alapere Canal. The photo was blurry, water damaged, but the smile was unmistakable. Flora. Flora didn't just die, Mama Titi said. She was never meant to stay dead. She's Idenkem, one of those who can return if their soul still holds unfinished love. I thought she was crazy, until she showed me the last cutting an obituary page. Date of death, 9 months ago. Date of burial, 3 months ago. Place, Alapere. The same month Flora started talking to me. "Did you ever meet her aunt?" Mama Titi asked. "No," I replied. "She always said her aunt was sick, that I shouldn't visit." "She doesn't have an aunt," Mama Titi said softly. "That house in Alapere? It's been abandoned for over a year." I didn't believe her. But that night, I went to Alapere to see for myself. It was around 7:43 p.m. The road was wet. The wind carried a cold, salty smell, like the sea was watching. The house was exactly how I'd seen it in the dream. Wooden, worn down with faded blue paint peeling off the walls. But what truly chilled me was this: her yellow scarf, hanging on the gate, tied in a knot, like it was waiting for me. I pushed the gate open. It screamed like a warning. Inside, the air was heavier than anything I'd ever breathed. There were no signs of life, no dishes, no curtains, no furniture, just a single stool in the middle of the sitting room, and a picture frame leaning against the wall. Up. It was me and Flora, at the market, but we had never taken a picture. Suddenly, I heard it. Her voice, soft, echoing. You came. My heart nearly stopped. I turned. She was standing at the top of the staircase, barefoot, dressed in white, her hair soaked like she had just come out of water. I knew you'd come, she said again. Because you promised. My legs wouldn't. Move! Do you still love me? She asked. My lips opened, but no words came out, because her eyes were bleeding. I wanted to run, but my legs refused. She was standing at the top of the stairs, pale, glitter. Her hair dripped, leaving a dark trail on the dusty steps. Her white gown clung to her, soaked, as if she had just climbed out of a river. Do you still love me? She asked again. It was clearer now, closer. I took one shaky step backward, and the floor beneath me creaked like it might collapse. She tilted her head, Flora, I knew. Then something changed. Her lips split, and blood poured out, not from her mouth, from her eyes, from her ears, even from her fingertips. I gasped. What are you? She stepped down the stairs, bound. You said you'd never leave me, she whispered. You said I was the only one. The lights in the house flickered. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I grabbed it like it was a weapon, a missed call from unknown. Then a message popped up on the screen. If you leave, she will follow. If you stay, you belong to her. I dropped the phone. Flora was now standing just a few feet from me. Her skin looked cracked like old porcelain dripping from the seams. Her eyes weren't eyes anymore. They were two dark pits, swirling with tiny screams I could almost hear. I loved you, she said. I still do. That's why I came back. I was shaking, sweating, crying all at once. You're not real, I muttered. You're not supposed to be here. She leaned forward, whispering, I'm not the only one who came back. 2 nights ago, while I slept, my window slowly opened on its own. A pale figure, eyes missing, face smiling, entered and stood over my bed. She wasn't alone. There were others, shadows, shapes, spirits with human faces, some with no face at all, watching me, waiting. Back to present. I never wanted to hurt you, Flora said, but they won't let me go unless I bring someone with me. My blood ran cold. I realized something then. It was never about love. It was a trade. She didn't just come back to see me. She came back to replace herself. That's when I saw the red thread tied to her wrist, leading all the way into the floor. What is that? I asked. She looked down, smiled sadly. It's the promise, the blood oath. Suddenly the walls began to shake. Voices, dozens, hundreds, crying, screaming, chanting in a language I couldn't understand. Flora stepped forward, her feet no longer touching the floor. You said your heart was mine, she said. And now, it is. The candle in the corner of the room goes out by itself. Darkness swallows everything. A single whisper cuts through the silence. Stay. I don't remember how I got out of that house. 1 minute, the room was dark, filled with voices. The next, I woke up on the ground beside the canal, soaked to the bone, with mud on my shirt and a dead rat floating inches from my face. My phone was gone. My wallet too, but tied around my wrist was the same red thread. I yanked it off and threw it into the canal. That night, I didn't go home. I went to a church I barely knew, a rundown building beside a mechanic shop. The pastor didn't ask questions. He just looked at me and said, "You've crossed paths with the ones that whisper from under the river." He asked me to describe her. When I said her name, Flora, the old man dropped the Bible in his hand. You said Flora? Yes. From mile 12? Yes. He rubbed his face slowly. I buried her, with my own hands, 9 months ago. Her aunt begged me to bless the body, even though the corpse wasn't whole. I blinked. But she's not buried. She's with me. No, he said firmly. She's not. The day of Flora's burial, her coffin was closed, her body waterlogged, missing fingers. During the final rites, thunder struck, and the coffin cracked open for a second. People swore they saw her blink. The coffin was resealed. Quickly, the pastor led me into a small room. There were photos on the wall, old ones of smiling women with plantain baskets on their heads. All of them looked eerily like Flora. This spirit has worn many names, he said, but the market is where she feeds. I stepped back. Feeds? She doesn't eat flesh. She eats hope, love, promise. Men like you are her favorite. The room started to spin. He handed me a white chalk and a bottle of thick oil. When she returns, don't run. Mark your door. Keep your back to the mirror. And whatever you do, don't answer her if she knocks. At my apartment, 307. The night was silent. Too silent. I had placed chalk lines around every entrance. My Bible was open to Psalm 91. My hands trembled as I poured the oil in a circle around my bed. Then came the first knock. Knock, knock, knock. Soft, delicate, like hers. I froze, eyes wide open. I didn't move. Then a whisper came from the keyhole. You forgot my plantains. I almost screamed. Another knock, louder. Then another. Then laughter. It wasn't hers anymore. It was deep, broken, wet. Then the door unlocked itself. The door had unlocked itself. I didn't touch it. I didn't move. I just stared. The knob turned slowly, creaking, almost like a neck twisting in the dark. But the door didn't open. Instead, I heard footsteps. Not outside. Behind me. I turned, slowly, and what I saw next shattered everything I thought was real. It was my mirror. But the reflection was wrong. In the mirror, the room was still. But I wasn't in it. Flora was. She stood exactly where I stood in my shirt, in my space. But she was smiling, calm. Her eyes were whole again. Her dress wasn't wet. She lifted her hand. So did I, but I wasn't controlling it. The mirror was. And then she spoke, not with her mouth, but from inside the glass. This was never about love, baby. It was about returning home. And now, you're the door. The lights flickered. Then suddenly, everything flipped. I wasn't in my room anymore. I was inside the mirror. The air was thick like smoke, but tasteless. The colors were faded. My voice echoed before I could even speak. And outside the window, the world was frozen, like time had stopped. I tried to shout, but no sound came out. Then I saw them. Others, men, women, some familiar, some strangers. All of them staring into mirrors from the other side. All of them screaming silently, trapped. Flora stood in front of me now. Her hair floated like she was underwater. Her arms opened. You made a promise, she said. I remembered. It was the third week we were dating. She had asked, would you die for me? I had laughed and said, of course. Now she was collecting. Real world, my body stood still, eyes blank. Flora's spirit wore me like a jacket, smiling with my face, blinking with my eyes. She stepped over the chalk line like it didn't exist, picked up my Bible, closed it, then whispered to the air, your heart is mine now. In the mirror dimension, I look out from behind the glass, banging, shouting, unseen. On the other side, I, no longer me, is preparing plantains on the kitchen counter, humming the same tune Flora used to hum in the market. But the face in the mirror, it's cracking, and behind me, other trapped souls begin to gather. One of them turns and whispers, "Don't worry, we all loved her too." The mirror was bleeding. A narrow crack of light opened before me, a final chance to escape the mirror world. But the voices around me were screaming louder now. The trapped souls clawed at the walls. And behind me, Flora stood quietly, watching. "Not angry, not violent if you must," she whispered. "But remember, love makes a promise, and promises demand blood." I looked back one last time. I saw her for who she really was. A girl who had died too soon. A soul twisted by loneliness. A spirit who didn't want revenge, she wanted to be remembered. But I couldn't stay, because if I did, my mother would to do with any of this. I ran. I ran toward the mirror with everything inside me. The moment I touched hair, like my soul was spraying, fasting, vomiting out black threads, seeing visions of Flora every time I closed my eyes. But by the end, the thread around my wrist ash, and I knew the bond was finally broken. Now I avoid mirrors at night. I no longer visit mile 12. Sometimes I see plantain, sellers, and feel my heart twist, but I walk away. Not because I don't love, but because love without discernment can open doors no man should walk through. Flora was real. Her story was tragic. But some souls aren't meant to stay. And I've learned, not every woman who smiles at you in the market is alive.
It was supposed to be just a vigil. Nothing special, just one of those night prayers they hold when the month is about to end. The kind your neighbor invites you to because God fit talk your matter tonight. I didn't plan to go, but NEPA had taken light for 3 days straight, and my rechargeable lamp had died since morning. No TV, fan, no peace. So when Mama Nkechi knocked on my door at 6:42 p.m., wearing white and holding her Bible like she had just finished fighting one demon, I nodded before she even finished talking. "A crossover vigil," she said. "One night only. You go come back new." "New, Abi," I smiled. Maybe I even needed that. The church no get signboard. Just one big compound with sand everywhere and a half-finished building in the middle. No windows, just curtains. They called in the Holy Revival Ark. As I entered, one usher with long gown and serious forehead looked at me from head to toe. "Drop your phone for the offering bowl," he said. I froze. "Sorry?" Nothing worldly allowed. Even ring, wristwatch, or chewing gum. Drop em. I chuckled. I thought he was joking, until he pointed to one guy at the back where they sweep floor barefoot. That smelled of sweat, anointing oil, and panic. The pastor came out wearing all white, his eyes red like someone who hasn't blinked in days. He looked straight at me. Not the crowd me. "You," he said, voice loud like thunder. "The Lord said you carry secret sin." Everybody turned, even the woman where they cry before paused to look. I almost laugh. "Me? Secret sin? Bro, I no even get data this month, na sin be that?" But something about the way his eyes glowed made my stomach twist. They started the vigil with the chain-breaking prayer, 3 hours, no sitting. Just shout your past sins until you start crying. One guy confessed to stealing meat from pot in 1998. Another woman cried about how she lied to her landlord about school fees. When it reached my turn, I laughed it off and said, "I know too get sin like Una." The pastor smiled, but it wasn't a good smile. "You dey lie," he whispered, "and the walls know." After the final worship, I looked around for the exit, ready to go back to my boring hot room. That's when I noticed something. There was only one door, the same one I came through, but it wasn't there anymore. Instead, there was a different door, wooden, narrow, and carved with symbols I no understand. The usher appeared beside me. "That's your way out," he said. "You're clean now." I stepped forward and opened it and stepped into my room, my exact room. Same broken fan, same bedsheet, same jollof stain on the curtain. But something felt off. There was no sound. Outside, no generator hum, no dogs barking, no Mama Ifeoma shouting at her children next door. Just silence. I turned around. The door was gone, and in its place, written on my wall with what looked like charcoal, was one sentence. Confess what you refuse to say, or start again. And then the light blinked. The bulb in my room flickered twice, and I heard singing. That same choir from the vigil. But I was in my room. I checked my wall clock. It was 6:42 p.m., the exact time Mama and Kechi had knocked. Then I heard the knock again. You ready for the vigil? A voice said from outside. My phone was back in my pocket, the battery full. The same usher now standing outside my door like nothing happened. Omo, what kind vigil be this? I no fit lie. My body they sweat, but cold they catch me. I looked around my room again. Everything looked the same, but the air felt heavy, like when rain won't fall but the clouds never open. Then that voice came again, this time from inside my bathroom. Confess. I jumped. Hello? Who they there? No answer, just slow dripping water from the bathroom tap, way I swear I locked since morning. I picked up my phone. Still 6:42 p.m., still full battery, but no network, not even glow bar. I opened WhatsApp. All. My chats. Deleted. Only one contact day for the list now. Holy Revival Arc, and under it the last message read, you skipped one, the one you buried. CN, I'm not even the deep spiritual type, but this one passed my level. I decided to do the only reasonable thing, run. I grabbed my slippers, opened my door, and boom, I was back inside the church. Same crowd, same sweat, same pastor with red eyes staring at me like I just stole tithe money. But now, everybody was singing one song, low and slow, like mourners. Talk what? I screamed. The pastor pointed again. There is something you did, and until you confess it, you go de loop. My knees got weak. I fell to the floor. But I no even remember anything. I shouted. The usher from before walked, close and whispered. Then think well, brother. Sin no day forget face. They dragged me to the front. One spotlight hit me like theater. Everybody else faded into shadows. I could only see the pastor, the mic, and one empty chair in the middle of the altar. They told me to sit. Then, one after the other, people from my past started walking in. First was Amaka. She sat beside me, looking just like the last day I saw her. Tears in her eyes. You never told anyone what you did, she said. I gasped. Amaka, but you moved abroad. You're not even... She vanished. Then came Kunle, my old neighbor, the one that got arrested for stealing, but it wasn't him. You framed me, he whispered. My chest tightened. I didn't know they'd take it that far. He vanished too. I started crying. For real. Like deep from the soul, crying. Please, I begged the pastor. I'm sorry, I want to confess everything. Please, just let me go. The pastor looked at me with pity. It's not me you're confessing to. The wall is waiting. I turned. To the wall. The same one that had the charcoal writing before, now it had turned into a mirror, and my reflection was smiling. But I wasn't. Then the mirror cracked. Not shattered, just cracked in a perfect circle. The kind of crack that looks like a door. Behind it I could hear my mum, singing softly, that same lullaby she used to sing when I had nightmares. I stood there, staring at my door. The red glow wasn't normal light. It pulsed, like a heartbeat, like something inside the house was alive and waiting. I looked around my compound. Neighbors' houses looked the same, but somehow older, faded. Walls, rusty gates. Even the mango tree beside my fence looked dried up. I knocked on my own door. Knock, knock. Silence. I turned the handle and entered. The room was pitch dark. Then the bulb came on without NEPA. My heart started to pound, because sitting on my bed was me, but not me now. Younger me, secondary school me. The one with skinny neck and oversized house shirt. He was holding a Bible in one hand and a bloodied envelope in the other. Sit down, he said, without looking up. I couldn't move. He looked at me with tears in his eyes. You remember what happened that night after fellowship, with Mummy Doyen's phone? My chest tightened. No, not that. Not that memory. I told you not to lie, younger me said. But you did, and now the lie has grown wings. The mirror on the wall cracked. Again. This time, instead of a reflection, I saw scenes like a film. Me, age 16, alone in the church office, finding that phone, opening things I shouldn't have opened, forwarding things I shouldn't have forwarded. That small mistake had caused one woman to lose her marriage, a scandal, a breakdown. And I had buried it so deep, even I forgot, but the ark didn't forget. I fell to my knees. God, I beg, I sobbed. I no even remember how bad it be. I was just a child. I thought it was small. I thought. A loud knock echoed from outside. Again, then a voice. Are you ready now? I rushed to the window. This time it wasn't Mama and Nkechi, it was my father. But he died 2 years ago. He was wearing the same white clothes from his burial photo. He didn't smile, he just stared. You must complete the loop, he said, or the door never closes. Then the wall peeled open. Yes, peeled. Like paper. Behind. It was that same church again, same curtain, same floor. But this time, empty, no members, no pastor. Just rows of old wooden chairs and one big black Bible in the center, open on the pulpit. The wind blew through, but no windows moved. I stepped forward. I had no phone, no slippers, no idea if I was awake or dreaming. But I knew one thing. I had to finish this vigil, even if it killed me. As I touched the Bible, it closed itself, and behind me the door slammed shut. One candle lit up on its own, and a voice whispered, soft but close. Welcome back. Confession begins now. The candle flickered, then another lit up, and another, until the whole church was glowing with orange flames, but the kind that don't burn. Just watch. Yes. The candles were watching me. Their flames tilted any time I moved, like eyes following my every step. Then the Bible opened itself again. Pages fluttered like it was being blown by a breeze that only it could feel. It stopped on one page. Blank. No chapter. No verse. Just my full name written in red ink. Ifeanyi C. Oathbreaker. My chest tightened. Oathbreaker? Me? When? And that's when I heard my voice. But from the altar. I turned. There I was again, but this time in full white. Face blank. Eyes glowing. I spoke, but not with my mouth. The altar version of me raised his hand, and a loud voice echoed through the church. You vowed. Under breath, with tears, and still you broke it. Suddenly I remembered age 17, after my mother was sick. I'd prayed and cried and shouted into the night. God, if you heal her, I swear I go serve you forever. No lies, no games, just you. And he did, but I didn't. The moment she got better, I ghosted church, started clubbing, ran small Yahoo format, told myself it was just survival. That night, I forgot the vow, but the ark didn't. You'd carry too many broken promises, the altar version of me said. That's why the door no go open. Then the walls started moving, not falling, not shaking, just shifting. The benches arranged themselves into a circle around me. In the air, faces began to appear. Some I knew, some I didn't. All of them looked disappointed. All of them whispered, say the truth. Own it. Finish what you started. Then the Bible turned into a bowl of water. The voice returned. Drinks or repeat the loop again. I reached for the bowl. My hands were shaking like NEPA voltage. The water inside wasn't clear. It showed flashes, visions, memories I buried. That girl I lied to just to sleep with her. The fake CV I used to collect someone's internship. The money I found and never returned. The cousin I mocked behind his back but smiled to his face. I couldn't breathe. I'm sorry. I whispered. Candles blew out. Everything went black. Then I opened my eyes, back in my room again. Normal room, fan working. Light bulb steady. My phone on my table. Buzzing, 6:43 p.m. 1 minute later, I picked the phone. A text message. From an unknown number. Well done. Confession received, but one sin remains. The one you committed in your dreams. My phone powered. Off, and the door creaked open on its own. Outside was not my compound anymore. It was the church again, but this time, It was upside down. I stood at the door of my room, staring into the upside-down church. Yes, upside down. The pews were hanging from the ceiling like bats. The pulpit was above my head. Candles stood straight, but their flames pointed down, yet somehow it didn't fall. Gravity didn't care anymore, and neither did I. I took one step forward and my leg rose. Omo, no joke, I was walking up, like saying a spiritual moonwalk. My body was doing backflip I didn't sign up for. By the time I reached the altar, which was now above my head, everything went still. Then came the voice. That same soft whisper that always sounded like it was beside me, even when no one was there. Your sin in sleep is the one you fear in waking. Suddenly, the floor beneath my feet turned into glass. I looked down and saw myself, sleeping on my bed, peacefully. Then, the scene started playing like a movie, me tossing and turning. Then I sat up, eyes wide open but still asleep. I stood, walked to my drawer, pulled something out, a piece of paper. Then I opened my wardrobe and... Omo. I froze. There was a journal. One I didn't recognize, hidden between my old school clothes. Watch to the last page. Operation Burn Everything Plan if caught. It was in my handwriting, but I didn't remember writing that. Then I saw the worst part, a name list. People I hated, people I envied, even my own cousin, and next to each name was a word, erased. My heart pounded. No, I never planned this, I never... But the dream version of me kept going. He folded the paper, lit a match, burnt it, then climbed back into bed, smiling. Back in the upside-down church, thunder cracked. Lightning flashed across the walls. The voice returned. You think because you didn't remember, you didn't act. You think sins of the mind don't leave fingerprints? You entered with secrets, you'll leave with scars, or not at all. Not off just black flames. And every flame whispered something I had but never said aloud. I wish he failed. She doesn't deserve that promotion. I'm better than all of them. God, no, go judge me, I'm trying now. Just this one time, a survival. The flames grew louder. My ears rang, I covered my face, and then silence. When I opened my eyes, the church was gone. I was sitting in a chair, a real one this time. Opposite me, on another chair, was a small boy. About 10, barefoot, dusty face. But his eyes were too old for his body. He handed me a mirror. This is who you are when no one is watching. I looked and screamed, because the person in the mirror wasn't me, it was the pastor from the vigil. But this time, you've been judging others while running from your own judgment. The boy stood up and pointed to a door behind him. My last chance. I could feel it in my bones. If you go through that one, you can wake up, he said. But whatever you leave behind stays behind, forever. I looked at the door, then back, in the mirror, and the pastor in the reflection winked. I no-go lie. My legs no day stable again. The moment that small, barefoot boy pointed at the door, my heart started to misbehave like generator with bad fuel. The mirror in my hand? Still they show that pastor. But now, he was smiling wider, in bleeding from the eyes. You day close, the boy whispered, but everything you take through that door... You day close, the boy whispered, but everything you take through that door will haunt you. Unless you pay the price. I turned to him slowly. Which price? He shrugged like saying a pure water matter. Memory, regret, or someone you love. Omo. This was no longer confession. This was transaction. I walked toward the door. It wasn't special, just plain wood, no design, no lock. But the moment I touched it, everything changed. The candles went off, the chair disappeared. And that small boy, he started growing. I kid you not. In front of my eyes, the boy began to stretch, his arms, his legs, his neck. He grew taller, older, darker, until he was towering over me, face hidden in shadow. When he spoke again, his voice was no longer a whisper. Confession earns entry. Sacrifice opens the door. Then he stepped back into the dark and vanished. I turned the handle. The door opened with a sound like thunder rolling through metal. And what I saw inside, Omo na room. My room. Again, but this time everything was reversed. The bed was on the ceiling, my clothes folded backward, my wall clock moving anti-clockwise. The calendar, 2014. I stepped inside. Boom. I was wearing my old school uniform, stained, white shirt, loose khaki trousers. My phone rang. I looked down. BlackBerry Curve 3. That same one-way ID used to borrow airtime like oxygen. I picked. Fix what you did in 2014. If not, the Ark will claim your memory forever. I dropped the phone, and the room began to melt. Yes, melt. Walls dripping like hot wax. Floor turning to water. Bed slowly burning, but in reverse. The flames were freezing everything. Knock, knock, knock. Bros, you day ready for vigil? It was Mama Nkechi's voice. Again. Say at 42 p.m. Again. The end. Loop was closing in. I ran to the door, grabbed the handle, and screamed, I confess everything. I lied, I stole, I hurt people and never looked back. I judged, I forgot God even after He helped me. Suddenly everything stopped. Silence. I was standing in a white room, completely empty. No candles, no clock, just one mirror on the wall. I walked up to it, and for the first time, I saw myself. Just me. Tired. Wounded. But real. Then, behind me, a door creaked open. I turned. Bright light. Voices singing softly. I took a step forward, and as I crossed the threshold, the moment I stepped through that final door, the light swallowed me like floodlight on blackout night. I squeezed my eyes shut, and when I opened them, I was back in church. But not the Holy Revival Ark. This one was different. The air smelled clean. There were no sweat-stained benches, no screaming ushers, no red-eyed pastor. Just soft organ music in the background, and sunlight pouring through stained glass windows like peace in liquid form. A woman in all white walked up to me. Her face was gentle, familiar, too familiar. Mummy? Yes, it was my mother, but younger, healthier. Smiling like she did before the hospital visits took it all, she touched my face. You've gone far, Ifeanyi, but you haven't come back yet. I tried to hug her. She stepped back. Not until you meet the one who sent you. A door opened at the front of the church. Light didn't pour out of this one. Darkness did. Cold, deep, complete. Something moved inside. Something breathing. Something waiting. My mother pointed. Go! I swallowed hard. Who's inside? She looked at me and said just one word. You. I stepped into the dark, and the door closed behind me. No light, no sound, just presence. Then a match struck. One small light, revealing one small bench, and sitting on that bench was me. But not scared me. This was cold me. No emotions, no regrets, just calm. Like somebody we no get anything to lose again. He smiled. Finally, he said, You're here. I stared. Here where? The place you built, he said. Every secret you buried, every truth you twisted, every prayer you faked, every person you used, all of them built this place. I'm not your shadow. I'm not your sin. I'm your realest self. I backed away. No, I've confessed. I've cried. I passed through fire, through loop. I'm clean. He stood up. Clean, and doesn't mean whole. You think confession is enough? But you never asked for forgiveness. Not from them, not from yourself. Then he raised his hand, and around us, floating in the darkness, appeared all the people I hurt. Amaka, Kunle, that girl I ghosted after lies, that cousin I mocked, even the fake names on the Yahoo formats I used, their photos, their pain, their voice notes. All there. You want to wake up? Cold me asked. Then let's do it properly. Let's finish it where it started. Dark and pulled out a Bible and a cutlass, handed both to me. Pick one. One opens your freedom, the other, your judgment. I looked at both. My hand reached for the Bible. But my heart was reaching for the cutlass, because part of me didn't just want freedom, it wanted revenge on myself. The Bible in one hand, the cutlass in the other, and my own darker self, staring me down like Judgment Day, had a face. The silence was loud. I looked at him, This version of me who didn't cry, didn't feel guilt, didn't beg God for mercy. The me that would happily burn the world if it meant hiding the ashes of his sins. Why this choice? I asked. Why give me these two? He shrugged, calm as ever. Because deep down, you still want to cut corners. Confess but not change. Feel bad but not face pain. You still want escape, not transformation. The cutlass felt heavy now, not because of weight, but because it felt like the easier option, Omo. I was tired of loops, tired of confessions, tired of 6:42 p.m. So I dropped the cutlass and clutched the Bible with both hands. Cold me frowned. Eyes narrowed, like he was disappointed. You sure? I nodded. My hands are dirty, I said, but I won't fix that by adding more blood. Then something happened. The ground beneath him began to shake, cracks formed, he stumbled back. Wait, he shouted, you can't just... But I didn't wait. I opened the Bible and began to speak, not shout, speak like someone finally tired of faking. I'm not proud. I've been fake, I've been selfish, I've caused pain, I've worn church clothes with street heart. But I want peace, I want freedom, I want to be whole. For real this time. And with every word I spoke, he began to burn, no flames. Just light, pure, blinding, painful light. He screamed, twisted, tried to run. But the light caught up with him, until there was nothing left. Just silence. Just me, just peace. I opened my eyes. And this time, I was back in my room. Real room. Fan turning. Power on. Phone on my table. I checked the time. 56 p.m. Nipa had brought light. My Bible was still on the bed, and from outside I could hear Mama Nkechi's voice. But this time, not calling me for vigil. She was laughing. Normal laughter. Joyful. I walked to the mirror. It was just a mirror. No reflection tricks, no whispers, no cracked writing, just me. Alive, breathing. Lighter. And on my door, someone had written with chalk, "You made it. Stay clean, or we loop again." I smiled, and for the first time in years I prayed, not for blessings, but for strength. When I saw both of them standing in my room, one holding birthday cake, the other holding cane, I knew my life was over. It is my birthday funeral rehearsal. My name is Kola. And until this incident, I was enjoying life like small chops at a wedding. Sweet, messy, and scattered. I had a full package girlfriend on the island, Bisola, banker scent. Smooth skin. The type that says, "Let's do brunch," and orders avocado toast like she knows what avocado really is. Then there was my mainland babe, Cynthia. Pepper soup seller by day, slay queen by night, loud, loyal. The kind of woman that says, "If you cheat on me, I go scatter your destiny." So of course I lied to both of them. To Bisola, I'm always working late. To Cynthia, "Island girls no fit understand me, now you be my peace, na so I dey balance sin with sweet mouth, until that cursed Thursday." That morning I got 2 texts, Bisola. "Baby, make sure you're home by 7 p.m. today. I have a surprise for you. You'll love it." I smiled like a thief who just saw free meat, until I saw Cynthia's message. "Kola! 7 p.m. sharp. Day your house. I won't spoil you today." 2 women, same time, same house. In that moment, I knew I was the goat, not great all time. But the one about to be used for emotional sacrifice, I started sweating like Nepopole during thunderstorm. I tried to lie my way out. I told both of them I was sick. Bisola replied, "Even better. I'll bring soup and medicine." Cynthia said, "Perfect. I'll bring pepper soup and bitters." That's when I knew. Now there he go happen. PM. The beginning of my downfall. He heard the knock. Soft at first, like doom with eyelashes. I opened the door and saw both of them, side by side. Smiling like demons on promo, Bisola holding balloons and birthday cake. Cynthia holding cane. And what looked like a laminated list of my lies. I wanted to faint. My spirit actually attempted to exit my body, but the door was blocked. "Happy birthday," they both said. At that moment, my phone slipped from my hand, my legs weakened, and I knew God had logged out. They entered, locked the door. Bisola placed the cake on my table like it was an offering to a doomed god. Cynthia adjusted her slippers and said, "Shall we begin?" The interrogation began. Bisola pulled out an envelope and said, "Here's a timeline of your cheating." Slide 1, me texting her "Good night, baby," while I was literally at Cynthia's place eating catfish pepper soup. Slide 2, screenshot of me calling them both my piece on the same day. Slide 3, my famous line, "I've never felt this way about anyone before." Apparently, I had told both of them that, and one other babe on Twitter. Cynthia raised her parting the Red Sea. I tried to run. She stretched and locked the door with one foot like an FBI agent in slippers. My TV blinked. "Even NEPA refused to save me, I begged." They smiled. Then it began. Cynthia didn't waste time. She pointed the cane at me like she was doing roll call in a primary school. "This one is for the lie you told me on Valentine's Day, that your uncle died. Meanwhile, you were in Bisola's hotel eating prawn maya. Fried rice! Wayne!" The cane kissed my back. My scream echoed into the compound. Dogs barked. My neighbor knocked gently and whispered, "Oga Cola." "Should I call police or pastor?" I screamed back. "Call heaven!" Bisola wasn't touching me. Oh no. Her weapon was emotional warfare. She sat down cross-legged and read from her printed notes like a TED Talk. Cola once said, "You're the only one who truly understands me." "Cynthia, please. How many times has he told you that?" Cynthia replied, "Every week, including last night." They both high-fived. Tears gathered in my eyes. The WhatsApp voice note that killed me twice. Then Bisola brought out her phone. She played a voice note I had sent her a week ago. The one where I said, "You know I'm not like those Lagos boys. I don't play games. I'm ready for marriage. If only you'd just say yes." Then Cynthia pulled her own phone and played my exact words. Same sentence, same voice crack for dramatic effect. At this point, I was crying. Not the normal guy tears. I was sobbing like a baby goat lost in traffic. Then Cynthia said the worst words a man can hear. "Cola, remove your shirt. This beating is spiritual," I obeyed. "When you're in trouble and the only thing between you and disgrace is obedience, you become humble like soaked bread." The neighborhood news agency activates unknown to me. The drama had gone viral in real life. My compound people, those jobless goats, were outside with plastic chairs, watching. Somebody even brought popcorn. One woman shouted from outside, "Cynthia! Beat him well. Na him tell my niece say she no get wife material." Another man added, "Omo, make person stream this thing on Instagram live oh." I was now trending in my own compound. Then, Bisola stood up. That's when I knew the situation had gone from frying pan to cremation. She said, "I'm done. You're a fraud, a manipulator, a low-budget Yoruba demon." Then she walked to the table, carried her birthday cake, and smashed it on my head. Butter icing entered my eyes. The candle stabbed my forehead gently, like a reminder that I was born to suffer. Then she did the worst thing. She turned to Cynthia and said, "Let's go." This one's not even worth shouting again. And then the two of them, former enemies, left together, like besties, like sisters, like Avengers who just finished defeating Thanos, aka me. Now I'm here, sitting on my floor, cake in my hair, cane lines on my back, no girlfriend, no side chick, no self-esteem, but that's not the worst part. You know what's worse? They left the door open. Now all my compound people are taking turns entering to console me, or laugh. One even said, "Cola, next time just marry Bible." I sat there, shirtless, with icing in my hair and emotional damage in my soul. Someone from Block C walked in and dropped a sachet of water beside me saying, "Oh yeah, drink, brus, before you faint and become compound sacrifice." I couldn't talk. I just nodded like a baptized mosquito. As I stood up to clean myself, my phone rang, caller ID. Baby G. Baby G, I forgot to mention her. Wait, who is Baby G? Baby G is Gloria. My third leg of the triangle, the one I kept off social media, off WhatsApp, strictly Snapchat and Telegram. Lagos babe with curves that can cause visa rejection. I only see her on weekdays, when Bisola is at work and Cynthia is busy frying catfish. That day. I hadn't seen her in 2 weeks. So why was she calling? I ignored it. She called again, then texted, "I'm outside." Surprise. I dropped my phone. I screamed. I ran. Cell PM. A full Nigerian season. Finale peeped through my window. Gloria was outside, looking like Valentine in human form, red dress, golden heels, cake box in one hand, iPhone on the other. I had 2 options: jump the fence like a criminal, face my destiny like a Yoruba movie character. I chose the 3rd option: hide inside my wardrobe like Joseph in Potiphar's house. As I squeezed myself into that tiny space, I heard her voice. "Cola!" "I know you're in there. Come out. I saw Cynthia and one fine yellow girl leaving your house earlier. What's going on?" My heart started playing Zanku. I stayed quiet. But guess what? My stupid neighbor, Baba Martins, that monitoring spirit, in human form. Gloria, you're the 3rd one today. Oh, the other 2 don't beat him well. Come, let me show you the cane marks. Gloria enters. My life exits. She barged into my room, saw the broken cake, saw the balloons, saw the cane on the floor. Then she paused. Wait, was this supposed to be my surprise party too? She sat down. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She just said, "Cola." And you know what they say. When a Nigerian woman says she won't beat you, you better start preparing your obituary. But then I heard something even scarier than her voice. Another knock. A deep voice said, "Police, open this door." My knock. A deep voice said, "Police, open this door." My spirit almost left permanently. How do I explain that I wasn't dead, just hiding from 3 girlfriends, 1 cane, and a cake curse? "Police, open this door!" Inside that wardrobe, my breathing slowed. My soul started calculating bribe prices. Outside, Gloria screamed, "Officers, he's hiding! Inside this house like a criminal!" I heard the wooden door creak open. My landlord had used his spare key. "Ogo, officer, come in. That boy Don caused enough wahala for 1 year. My enemies were now multiplying." The police stepped in. Boots, batons, body odor. "Where is Cola?" One barked. Gloria pointed at the wardrobe like Judas at the Last Supper. The officer yanked the wardrobe open. There I was, bent like boiled plantain, shirtless, eyes red from tears. My only words, "Officer, I no get strength, just carry me go." Inside. The station? I sat on a bench like a broken mannequin. The DPO looked at me and asked, "So, women beat you? And now you're the criminal?" I nodded. I couldn't even argue. Then Gloria stepped forward. "Sir, I just want to say something before you release him." I looked up. Maybe she came to forgive me. Maybe love would win. She reached into her bag, pulled out a small brown envelope, dropped it on the table, then dropped the bombshell. "That's his DNA test result. He's the father of my baby." Everything went silent, blinked. "Baby? What baby?" she continued. "You remember that weekend in Lekki Phase 1 after we drank small Henny and watched that Korean drama? That was the night." I started sweating again. The coup. Officer looked at me. "Oga Cola, how many more surprises remain today?" My head spun. My body went numb. It was only 10:30 p.m. I had already been flopped, exposed, beaten, humiliated, and now daddified then. My phone vibrated unknown number. I picked up, shakily. "Hello, Cola? It's Amaka. I'm outside your gate. I brought your favorite jollof and I want to talk about us." Amaka? Another babe? Even the police officers paused. One asked, "Oga, are you running a branch of the Ministry of Women Affairs?" Inside the police station, the room fell silent. Even mosquitoes paused mid-bite as I whispered, "Amaka is here, with jollof." The DPO squinted at me like he was watching an episode of Jennifer's Diary. "How many girlfriends do you actually have, young man?" Before I could reply, Gloria clapped back. "Count with your fingers, then borrow your toes." One constable burst out laughing. Another started writing a comedy skit script. I was the joke. The jollof arrives, they let Amaka into the station. She walked in, glowing, confident. That "I know something you don't" look in her eyes. She dropped the foil pack of steaming jollof on the table, then looked at Gloria, then looked at me. Then she dropped a small nylon bag beside the rice and said, "That's not all I brought." My mouth was dry. My soul said, "Bro, run!" She pulled out a pair of baby shoes. Wait, baby number 2. I started laughing. Not normal laughter. That type of painful, spiritual, I don't believe this is my life laughter. Another baby? Amaka smiled. Congratulations, Daddy of Lagos. Gloria stood up. Excuse me? I thought I was the only one carrying his child. Imaka replied with a wicked grin. You thought wrong. While you were snapping pregnancy tests, I was busy collecting his real DNA, and I'm 2 months ahead of you. The police officers were now fully invested in the drama. One whispered, "This is better than Anikulapo, oh," and then a twist. The DPO leaned forward and said, "Kola, this is not normal. Are you sure these women are not working together?" Suddenly, everything started to connect in my head. Same birthday surprise timing, back-to-back arrivals, DNA tests, baby shoes. I turned to all of them. Wait. Is this a setup? They looked at each other and smiled. Gloria said, "You remember 3 months ago when you told me you were traveling to Ibadan for your cousin's wedding?" I nodded, slowly. Amaka added, "You told me the same story. Same cousin, same date." Bisola, who had just walked back in, yes, she came back, chimed in. And me too. Same Ibadan. Same lie. It hit me. These women had been talking to each other, working together. This wasn't revenge. It was a coordinated, multi-layered Voltron-style takedown. And then the door opened again. A soft voice said, "Is this the police station?" We all turned. Cynthia. She had returned too. She entered, took one look at the room, saw the cake stain on my head, the baby, shoes the jollof, and calmly asked, "Has he confessed?" Cynthia sat down like a judge. "Kola, welcome to your judgment day. Call it Court of the Chopped Ladies." The others nodded. Bisola pulled out a projector remote. Where did she get it? A small portable projector lit up the wall. Slide 1. Kola's Hall of Lies, an investigative breakdown. I tried to stand, the DPO signaled. Sit down and face your sins. They took turns reading. Bisola. On March 2nd, you said you were at a company retreat. We found you at Mr. Biggs in Surulere, buying food with Gloria, Cynthia. April 5th, you told me your uncle died. But we saw your tagged Insta story at Amaka's place, wearing matching pajamas. Gloria. While you were praying and fasting. For clarity in Lekki, you were actually kissing Bisola on Snapchat. We screen recorded it. Amaka. And those 2 babies you thought were yours. Yeah, they're not. We faked it. Welcome to Emotional Damage, Inc. I collapsed. Like a failed NEPA transformer, mentally, spiritually, maritally. I was finished. Cynthia leaned forward. We knew you were a player, but you disrespected all of us, equally. So we came together, not for drama, but for closure. Gloria stood. We're not here to destroy you. That would be too easy, Amaka added. We're here to teach you. A masterclass in heartbreak, taught by 4 professors. Then Bisola stood, walked over, and dropped a small wrapped box on my lap. Happy birthday, Kola. This is your real surprise. I opened it slowly, hoping maybe it was peace offering, or perfume, or at least chewing gum. It was a mirror with a note that read, "Look inside. That's the clown of the year." They all walked out, together, hair swaying, faces glowing, laughing like they just left a spa. The police officers stood and clapped. Even the DPO saluted them. I sat there, with my cake-stained face, my lies exposed, my rice untouched, and my clown mirror in hand. The lesson: don't play with women who know Excel, screenshots, and each other. I now attend church regularly. I volunteer for ushering duty. I haven't said, "Hey babe," to any woman in half a year. They call me Brother Kola. I call myself survivor of 4 babes and 1 cane. One time, a woman smiled at me during service. I ran to the pastor's office and asked for emergency deliverance.